Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Impressive Garlic 488 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it says, Am I the arsehole for demanding that my fiance's parents change their plans to have a vacation at the same place as our honeymoon? My fiance and I have our wedding coming up in April. We had brainstormed for a while on where best to spend our honeymoon. We went over the more popular and well-known places, but then landed on a more offbeat destination that I felt would truly be a great place for us to start our life as a married couple. I've been looking forward to it just being the two of us. I know he has a really hectic work schedule and we're going to make the most out of this. A couple of days ago, he told me that his parents had been impressed by how hyped I was about it and were planning on going there for a vacation too, largely overlapping with our dates. They're staying at the same hotel as us. I was livid. They can go any other time. Why now? He said he had suggested that, but that his mum said they had taken the time off for the wedding too, and it worked well into their plans. Also that, since we're going to be back, it'd allow them to see us maybe a few times before we leave. I was almost in tears, I was so angry. He tried to reassure me saying that they had promised it'd be two separate things and they won't be inserting themselves in our honeymoon. They want us to enjoy it and they'll be doing their own thing. I want to believe it, but I know his mum. I like her as a soon-to-be mother-in-law, but she can get very clingy and routinely laments how far he, and now us, are from them. So I just have a feeling the two plans are not going to be as independent as he thinks they'll be. I vented about it to my parents too. My mum agreed with me that this isn't right. My dad is more on the fence about it. He doesn't think everything is ruined. I've demanded my fiance make them change their plans. He says he asked them to, but they promised to do their own thing. What can he do to tell them he doesn't believe them and call them liars? I messed up then and said if that's what it takes. He got quiet. I realized that was too much and sincerely apologized for crossing the line. This has been eating me up. I was envisioning a certain type of honeymoon and this happened. Am I the arsehole? And this is a not the arsehole from me. The fact that they're at the same hotel as you as well, you're not going to be able to avoid them. They will insert themselves at some point. You're going to cross paths, maybe at the bar, maybe at the pool, somewhere along the line. And it's simply not unreasonable to want privacy during your honeymoon. But someone said to OP, not the arsehole. As much as it sucks, the only way to truly secure an in-law-free honeymoon would be to cancel your plans and go somewhere else. Not ideal, but there's no way you're not going to accidentally bump into them the whole time they're there. Opie says a few other comments have said this too. I truly appreciate what you're saying, and I know I'm overreacting here, but this makes me want to bawl my eyes out. Another commenter says not the arsehole. I would personally change the hotel, or the dates, or both, or stay at a different hotel the dates they're going to be there. Also, a no cell phone policy, so they can't get a hold of you. But to be honest, this is a husband problem, and not an in-law problem. You should have shut her down point blank at even the suggestion of going to your honeymoon destination at the same time. Opie says dates can't be changed really. Like, I'd be okay with that, but I know it wouldn't work for him. He had to move around some work stuff for us to finally land on these dates. A different hotel could work, but this is like a coastal area, and I really wanted a hotel close to the beach. But I'll start looking for some others too. This hotel had really good reviews too, and because it's not a huge city or something, if people want to meet, it's not too inconvenient, which sucks, because what if they decide they do want to meet? And what if we meet on the beach? I have to change what I plan on wearing too. I'm just really hoping they change their plan because quite honestly, if I'm the one that has to change plans, I might not end up being a good daughter-in-law. Someone raised a point on the OP's last comment. They said, why do you have to change what you're wearing? It's your honeymoon. If they have a problem with what you're wearing, then remind them A, this is your honeymoon. 2, they said they would do their own thing, so they should go do that. And finally 3, it's your honeymoon. OP says, there were a couple of bikinis that I had bought for the beach, which would definitely be considered tacky to wear in front of in-laws. I thought over this more. I was heartened by the response here because I thought that I was the one being OTT about this. But I can see that most people agree that what they're doing isn't right. I really don't want to change plans. I'm going to see them after work and just stress how important it is to me that they not come. I'm going to talk to them respectfully, but be firm. Because last time I went a little bit over the line, I feel, which derailed our conversation. Opie says a simple hotel change to the other side of wherever, and they don't need to know what hotel. Ask to be checked in by another name or something. Bring candy and make friends with the front desk staff. Bring them pastries. They will die for you, and make sure your mother-in-law never knows you are there. Opie says, I spoke to him just now that I was considering switching hotels at least. He said he's on board with that if I decided the same hotel was too much. But he said he'd appreciate if it could be a surprise once we land, so at least that's an option. A commenter, part of a longer comment, says, extreme info diet from now on. The in-laws only find out about your vacation plans when you get back and show them the pics. Opie says, yeah, I messed up a bit here. He told me back then that he hadn't told his parents yet, that we'd confirmed our honeymoon destination, but he didn't tell me why. Otherwise, I'd have followed his cue, and when she asked me later in a call, I told her where we were going and hyped the place up. So I regret that now. You know, that's still not your fault. You wasn't expecting them to then go and book the same hotel, etc., and act in this weird-ass way. But sometime later, Opie comes in with their first mini update and says, when we met, I raised the issue with him again. I said that he knows how much I've been looking forward to our honeymoon. I only plan on having it once, and his parents being there will ruin it for the both of us. I also said that I didn't want to change anything about it. Not the hotel, nor the destination. It just wasn't fair. He said that he doesn't like that they're coming either, but that they're giving their word to not interfere. But to me, it's not about believing them, just that the honeymoon I had in mind is going to get ruined with them around. I told him that this wasn't a trivial annoyance for me. This was actually making me unhappy, and I need him to do something about it. He said he'll handle it by tonight. Well, first, he told me that knowing his parents, especially his mum, she's going to feel slighted by us. We're going to be living a 4-hour flight away from them, so it's not like we're going to see them too often. But he said he just wanted me to know that was going to happen. I said I'm fine with that. Probably could have been more tactful, but he found it amusing. He said he'll handle it by tonight, so I'm waiting now, I guess. I'm honestly really proud of myself for having brought it up again and how I said what I had to say. I came straight here to brag. So a couple of days after that one, Opie comes in with another update and says, hi, thank you for the advice in the original post. I thought over this more. I was heartened by the response here because I thought I was the one being OTT about this. But I saw that most people agreed that what they're doing isn't right. I really didn't want to change plans, so I planned to talk to him again, speaking respectfully about his parents, but firm, because last time I'd gone over the line a bit, which had derailed our conversation. We met yesterday after work. I raised the issue with him again. I said that he knows how much I'd be looking forward to our honeymoon. I only plan on having it once, and his parents being there will ruin it for the both of us. I also said that I didn't want to change anything about it, not the hotel or the destination, it just wasn't fair. He said he doesn't like that they're coming either, but they're giving their word not to interfere. To me, it's not about believing them, just that the honeymoon I had in mind is going to get ruined with them around. I told him that this wasn't a trivial annoyance for me. This was actually making me unhappy, and I needed him to do something about it. He said he'll handle it. Well, first he told me that knowing his parents, especially his mum, she's going to feel slighted by us. We're going to be living a 3-hour flight away from them, so it's not like we're going to see them too often. But he said he just wanted me to know that was going to happen. I said I'm fine with that. Probably could have been more tactful, but he found it amusing. He said he'll handle it, so I waited. I swear that was in the previous part of the update. Last night, he told me his parents were cancelling their plan. I asked him how it went. He said it went fine. They said it would be 2 separate plans, but he told them their plan was becoming a problem and asked them to change their plan, and it would mean a lot to him. So they did. They hadn't booked tickets yet, but they're looking into either getting a refund on their hotel reservations, or my fiance suggested delaying it sometime later in the future. I told him that I was sorry he'd been put in this position, but I was so happy about it. I started tearing up too. This had just been bearing on me so heavily, and I was so glad it was back to the way I have it in my mind. Also, I know the stress of the wedding and work has been bearing on him too, and I didn't like adding this extra stress onto him either. He said it was a very short and simple convo with his parents. I thought there'd be a big argument because they hadn't been swayed previously. My parents were also really happy for me. My dad thinks it wouldn't hurt to call mother-in-law and just apologize for what happened. Not in a I'm sorry I did this way, but more of a I'm sorry this happened way. My mum thinks there's no need. My fiance thinks it's up to me. I'm really glad I came here and found out I wasn't overreacting, or I wouldn't have had the confidence to ask my honeymoon back. Thank you. OP comes in with another edit a couple of days later and says there won't be any apologies. His parents had asked for pictures from us during our honeymoon. I'm not sending shit. His mum complained about me to my mum that I'm not making an effort to become part of the family, how hostile I was, and how I didn't understand the importance of relationships. My mum stood up for me and said I have no duty to anyone except my soon-to-be husband. I take back whatever I might have said about me generally liking my soon-to-be mother-in-law. I'm done. They cancelled their vacation, that's what I wanted, and I'm going to smile for the family pictures at the wedding, and once we fly out, I'm done with her. Someone said to OP, I don't think you should apologize either, but why did you react that way when they simply asked for a picture? I'm not sending shit, I'm done with her. They cancelled like you wanted, rightfully so, and kept their distance. Why are you getting so combative? OP says because she complained to my mum a few hours ago about how she knew I must have been the one who had a problem with their plan, how I was being hostile and didn't understand the importance of relationships, how I wasn't trying to become part of the family. This is after I've been extending goodwill and respect every step of the way. And the mother-in-law's little outburst after all this pretty much confirmed it to me that she was going to bump into them with air quotes at some point at the hotel. She was going to get herself involved in some way. And I also just feel it's one of these situations where that's not the end of mother-in-law. You know, she might even turn up to this hotel still. And that's a bit of a worry, isn't it? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Ring Throwaway 12345, and it says, I, female 26, hate the ring my fiance, male 27, proposed with, and I don't know what to do. Throwaway because my fiance knows my main. A wonderful thing happened this past weekend, which is that my boyfriend of 5 years proposed to me. It was extremely romantic, and I couldn't have planned something better myself. I'm over the moon right now, except for one thing, my ring. When my fiance and I first started to talk seriously about getting engaged, I told him that we could choose a ring together, or he could ask me questions about my preferences and look through my existing jewelry to get an idea of what styles of rings I liked. He wanted it all to be a surprise, so he opted for the latter. I was a bit nervous because I can be a bit picky when it comes to jewelry, but I trusted that he would have enough resources and knowledge to make a wonderful choice. The only guidelines I gave him were nothing pink, no blue sapphires, and no diamonds. As it turns out, I hate the ring. It's not just in a, it's not really my style, but in a grow on me way, but in a, wow, this is ugly and I would never wear it way. I feel absolutely awful for thinking this, but I can't help it. My issues with it. Number 1, it's huge and gaudy, like the sorts of rings you see old women wearing. 2, it's in the shape of a heart. I dislike heart-shaped jewelry, which is why I never owned any until now. 3, it's amber. I'm a fan of light/honey-colored amber, but this is way too dark. It's also extremely impractical to have amber be worn as an everyday ring. It's going to become scratched and dull very, very quickly. I just don't understand why in the world he picked this ring out for me. It's not my style at all, and it's clear he didn't do any research. If he had, he would have known amber was a poor choice. I'm actually rather hurt by his choice because to me, it shows a lack of care on his part. The worst part of it all is that I have no clue how to broach the subject with him. He and I share everything with each other and have no secrets. So it's doubly hard on me to not dislike the ring, but to also not be talking to him about this problem like we do with everything else. How can I bring this up without hurting him? I want him to know I love him deeply and that I'm so happy to be engaged, but that the ring needs to be changed. I'm freaking out and need advice badly. Thank you. And OP did share a picture of the ring and oh geez, I just clicked it at that moment. And I was going to explain it for the podcast users and I'm not quite sure how to explain it. It's massive. It's just like a huge heart. And it is absolutely huge. And, you know, some people might like it, but the only vibe I'm getting is something that used to get out of like a vending machine or something like that. I know that sounds really awful, but for OP in this, there's only one way to deal with this, and that's to talk it out. You know, if I was OP's fiance in this and came up to me and said I didn't like the ring, I'd be like, you know, of course you're going to be a bit taken aback by it, but at the same time, if this is something she's going to be wearing for the rest of her life, you want her to be happy with it, comfortable with it, surely, right? But Blade says, if you're going to spend the rest of your life with this man, You'll need to get comfortable with awkward conversations. Just frame it up as you're worried about the stone's ability to wear for the rest of your life, and you want something you can wear every day. Go together to pick out a new one. I'm sure he tried. OP says we've had many awkward conversations before, believe me. This is a whole different ballpark because of the extremely sensitive subject matter. Even if I frame it in the terms of why it's simply impractical, it doesn't solve my hurt feelings and confusion of his choice. OP replies to a deleted comment and says, why is it wrong to be hurt? He completely ignored my tastes and preferences on the ring that I'm intended to wear for the rest of my life. It honestly feels like he pulled a ring out of a hat and thought, I guess this is it. When I get him a gift for his car, I do tons of research, I ask his friends for suggestions, etc. He obviously didn't put the same thought into this gift to me, and that hurts. Someone said to OP that, it's hard for men to pick rings, and OP replied saying, I literally offered to pick it out with him. He didn't have to make the choice alone in the first place. Even with the original choice to make it a surprise, he wasn't clueless. He knew what things I didn't like, and he knew what I did like by looking through my jewelry collection. He could have talked with my mom or sister to get their opinions on what styles I'd like. He didn't do the research though, and that's why I'm sort of hurt. It seems thoughtless. So OP came in with that post and says I was not expecting yesterday's post to be so popular, and I was overwhelmed at how many people responded. In spite of loads of damn OP wasn't lying about the ring or what a shallow bitch comments, I want to thank you for those who did give me ideas of how to discuss this difficult topic with my fiance. After he arrived home last night and we had dinner, we got on the couch to cuddle. I knew it was the best time to talk about it, so I started off by telling him how ecstatic I am to be married to him and how much I loved the proposal. I then launched into my main point and said, I'm sorry to do this, but we're going to have to pick a different ring. The amber is going to get destroyed in no time and the ring is just too big for my hand. I kept banging into everything today as it is. It's just an impractical choice in the long run. He immediately looked like he was about to cry, which made me feel terrible. He put his head down and said, you don't like it, just be honest. I admitted that the impracticality of the ring was a very real issue, but that I also didn't like it. I said I'm kind of confused why you picked it because it's nothing like the rest of my stuff and it's absolutely massive. By this point he was crying and said, that's the point, I wanted something completely different. All your rings are so plain, I wanted the ring to stand out so that everyone would see it and know I love you. I'd figured that this was his line of thinking. Others guessed as well. I told him that I understood where he was coming from and emphasized that I'm so thrilled to be engaged, but that I want the ring to be something that I will like. After all, it'll be on my finger for the rest of my life, and that the material needs to be durable in order to stand the test of time. I explained to him how delicate amber is, which he didn't know. He said he picked amber because he liked that there were things inside of it. I asked him if he had thought about what he wanted in the ring before he had bought it. When he said no, that he had just gone to the mall and picked one out, I started to cry. I hadn't planned on crying or telling him I was hurt, but knowing that he didn't research anything about rings or really think about it just really got to me. I tried to explain my hurt feelings as eloquently as possible, but I could tell he felt horrible for it. He said that the whole process really freaked him out and that he regretted not having me pick the ring with him. When it came to the pick, he was overwhelmed by ring choices and went for the most romantic thing he saw. We both cried a lot, needless to say. The talk was very productive though, and it all ended up working out fine. Thankfully, he's the best guy I could ever ask for, just with really crappy taste in jewelry, which he now recognizes. So he wants to pick a new ring together this weekend. So OP also replied to a deleted comment and says, well, when we agreed that we wanted to get engaged, I offered to pick out the ring with him. He said no to that because he wanted it to be a surprise. So I let him look through my jewelry collection, roughly 25 rings, and told him a few things I definitely did not want. So he did have some idea. He just purposely decided to go in the opposite direction. And the top comment on this one said, well, the amber ring was pretty horrible, but one thing it had going for it, it wasn't dug out of a grave. Glad it worked out for you, OP. And there was lots of comments below this one about the actual picture of the ring, saying, it's the ugliest ring they've ever seen. To the point I've actually started feeling sorry for a ring. Oh, dearie me. I'm glad things did work out in the end and that they was able to go and choose a ring together, but holy moly. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.